When we are interacting with a person is interaction. When we are interacting with the material is interactivity. But there are lots of different definitions. And if you go to our sites of the course and you go to topics, I put there 3 articles if you want to read about what is interactivity and the difference between interactivity and interaction in different areas, in engineering, in communication, in social science. The definition of these 2 concepts is different. But here in education, what we are understanding is that when we are interacting with people is interaction. When we are interacting with the material that we are producing, you are producing a PowerPoint, you are producing a video, the interactivity between the video and the person, that's interactivity. The thing is that the adjective in English is the same, is interactive, and that's why it's confusing. The noun is different, interaction, interactivity, but the adjective is interactive, although some scholars call it interactional as well. But it's all that, we are going to start and see this video about communication that is necessary to interact with your students.
We live in an era of constant digital communication. With the tap of a button, we can share insights and collaborate with people all over the world. But there's a cost. We can easily get distracted and lose our focus. This is why quality communication requires intentionality, and it helps to think about the distinction between synchronous and asynchronous communication tools. Synchronous communication happens in real time, in the moment. By contrast, asynchronous communication can happen over a longer period of time. Synchronous communication might be a video conference, a live chat, or a phone call. Asynchronous communication might be a pre-recorded video, an audio message, or an email. Both synchronous and asynchronous communication have their distinct advantages and disadvantages. Synchronous communication is faster and more dynamic. It's great for active participation in interactive discussions. It tends to work well with smaller groups, but it can lead to frequent interruptions and distractions that get in the way of deep work. With asynchronous communication, there's no need to schedule, which means you can go at your own pace with fewer disruptions. Asynchronous communication works well when the internet connection is unstable or when participants are in different time zones. It also tends to allow for a permanent record of your communication. However, asynchronous communication doesn't work well when you need to address issues in the moment, and it can feel less interactive. Some communication platforms blend together synchronous and asynchronous components. A walkie-talkie app lets you communicate in the moment, but listen later and even adjust the speed. A shared document has real-time edits, but the comments are asynchronous and there is a permanent record of all annotations. Video chats can occur in real time, but then recorded for replay later on. This can help increase accessibility. Meanwhile, social media platforms often blend together live and recorded videos, chats, and updates. Both synchronous and asynchronous communication are necessary for collaborative work. This is why teams should think strategically about when to use both types of communication as they plan for collaborative projects. And educators should be intentional about how they use both approaches to improve student collaboration as well. Hey, thank you for watching Constant.
Good, perfect. So, what do you think? Any comments? One of the important parts of all these is that, as you can see, you have to plan ahead what type of communication are you going to set up with your students. So what sort of communication do you do with your students? What sort of communication? Do you plan both? Do you plan the synchronous and the asynchronous? How do you manage to integrate both? Any ideas? Yes, Tamar, thank you.
Um, when I use flipped classroom methodology, I record, for example, 10 or 15-minute lecture. I send it or put on the Moodle platform for my students, get send notification to watch the video of a lecture. I record it. Also, I send some additional material. And during the seminars or the lecture, we discuss. I answer the question or I put answer. So I start managing discussion
Okay.
around the material.
So basically, when you communicate, you do a kind of a more flipped classroom. So you in a sync. And today, what we are going to focus is on using applications. And this is what you have in the different columns in color. If you're looking at the Padlet, okay, you have 5 columns with different applications. In each column, there are four applications. I put a lot of videos as well that you can watch in your time. But the task that we are going to do now is I'm going to put you in groups. And of course, there are some of these tools that you already saw in the course in Barcelona. You remember that we saw Mentimeter and we saw, remember that? Navar said yes. And so what I'm going, so as some people didn't came for that course, so I'm not going to repeat it, but we are going to see it there. Can you see that there is an orange one that is about polling apps? And there are, if you look it down, there are 4 polling apps, right? Then there are gamified quizzes. Then there are sharing spaces. Then recorded videos. And then others, right? And this is, so these are applications and resources, digital resources, where you can have communication mostly, and not, but mostly synchronous communication while you're doing your lessons, right? So what we are going to do is go and if you use one of them, in the comments, you can tell what was the purpose, what for, what did you use it for, right? If you have not used these, right, you can go in and try to think what we can use this for, although you haven't used it, but at least you find out a little bit. You don't have to enroll, okay? You don't have to, just check what is all this about. The most important thing of this task is that to see the potential of these tools for your classes, okay? And later on, you can experiment and get in and enroll and you know, registered or whatever, okay? But here is that we have to see the potential of these tools to help us with that communication that we were talking about before, to enhance and to prompt interaction, as I'm doing here all the time. You see, I'm using Padlet, I'm using Mentimeter, I'm using, so in group 1, is going to be Andre, Maria, Shorena, and Tatiana. In group 2, Hasmik, Navar, Olga, and Valeria. In group 3, Ia, Natalia, and Nikolov. In group 4, Manana, Olga, and Tamarlot Sats. And in group 5, Likia, Maya, Tamara, and Juliana. Okay? Yes, Tamara. good thing is that the point of this task is just to share the applications that we are using and to find out new ones
Yes.
in each section, so you can then later on have them if you need them, because there are so many applications that you could be using in order to interact with your students to make this learning active. And that's the point. And there are some that they are very, very useful. And these are the most, I've just put it, the most common ones that teachers are using at the moment, and the most popular in each section. That's why I put it in the different sections. You can also, later on, if you want to watch the videos in the first column, there is a video that's a guy telling about 5 applications that he is using. And it's a kind of, it's very good. It's talking about Mentimeter, of course, and other ones that they are not there in the columns. So you can check later on. But the idea of this task was to share these applications that you are using and to discover new ones that you could be using, the potential that they have in your classes to make them more interactive. And now we are going to talk about interactivity. That is, try to make material interactive, right? Is your material interactive? And how can we do this? How can we add this interactivity? Okay, we are going to watch first 2 videos, and then I'll tell you all the process that we have to do in order to make our video interactive, the video that we have selected. Okay, and I'll tell you, I'll invite you to a new program, we'll do an example, we'll see lots of things, and then you'll build it. You'll build it individually, but you'll help each other, because I'll put you in groups. Just you have problems and say, how can I do that? So you help each other, okay? As usually you do, okay? So I'm going to share a video now about this thing, this idea of interactivity. Okay.
When talking about interactivity in e-learning, many people think that adding lots of clicks or having learners drag items around is a good idea to make the content more interactive. However, not only can this be distracting for the learners, but it also adds nothing to the learning experience. Instead, interactivity should be a way for the learners to connect with the content in a meaningful way. Gamification suggests 4 strategies for creating interactive e-learning experiences by moving away from adding lots of clicks and instead having the learner connect with the material through feelings, actions, reflections, or communication with others. Let's take a quick look at each of the strategies. Learners are more likely to remember material that they had an emotional response to. As a designer, you can influence learners' emotional responses by adding powerful stories, surprising statistics, or provocative questions. The best way to learn is often through application of knowledge and practice. Try to create opportunities for learners to apply what they have learned. This can be done through including relevant assessments, such as by situating quiz questions in context instead of just having the learner recall disconnected information, or by creating case scenarios. Reflections are a form of cognitive interactivity and help learners to incorporate new information into existing knowledge. Provide opportunities for the learners to pause and reflect on the content. Encourage them to take notes and write down their thoughts and ideas, or include questions to ask learners to rate themselves. Connecting with other people can be a great way to add interactivity to learning, and e-learning offers many ways for encouraging communication. For instance, you can include discussion forums, incorporate social media, have learners fill out surveys that the instructor reviews, or encourage learners to talk to others outside the e-learning course.
Okay, and now we are going to see another video, you see that she said that the last part for me is not interactivity as such, but it's more interaction, that you use the social. This is what we said before. But we are going to see now a video that talks about the 4 levels of interactivity. There are ways of creating different levels of interactivity. Okay, so we are going to watch this one. I'm going to put, okay. So here we are. Right. Okay, what you have to do, and you have to do it individually, you have to do the assignment, okay? So yeah, watch the video, and with all these points of interactivity, just pay attention and do what they ask you to do, if they ask you anything to do. Is that clear? Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Now this
Is 8 lessons learned from teaching online.
all right, okay.
Is that the video that you have to watch, right? And do the assignment. I'll give you a couple of more minutes so people can finish it. The people who have finished, think about the points of interactivity I've already put. Are they the same? Are they different? What was the purpose of all these points? Think about it while we are waiting for the rest to finish. The idea is it was to have an example of an interactive video, and this is what you have to do now, but we are going to analyze it. Okay, if some people are still finishing, but how was the experience? What did you think about this? Any opinions? Do you think it's a good way of presenting a video?
Yes, yes, it is a very good way.
Okay, raise your hand. Remember to raise your hand if you want to talk. So we are not, okay, talking over each other. Okay, who wants to say something about the experience of this? Have you had this experience before of a video interacting, an interactive video?
May I
Yes,
start?
Manana. Yes, Manana.
For me, it's really very interesting, especially this case when it offers us while watching questions, and so the students are more mobilized. They are not only watching and then close their video, but they have to watch every item, every passage, and have to do some tests, open questions, which I really approve and I really like and would use it later.
Yeah,
with
because
pleasure. Thank you.
You see, we go not only from the passive level of interactivity,
Exactly.
we move to level 3 of interactivity where they have to do something.
Absolutely.
This is to do more active learning. So I advise you that don't show them videos without some sort of interactivity. With some interactivity that it will help them reflect and do stuff. Any other comment? Yeah, it's because you make it active. If you're talking in the pyramid of Bloom, you know Bloom's pyramid of all the cognitive. You see, you go for the comprehension, but this is more active because you have to comprehend and do something about it, and then you can comment afterwards. Problems that they had, they were not all the students passively watching the video, but actively watching the video, and that's the point. And that's what we have to do. Right, I'm going to go through the different, and I'm going to show you more or less the activity. I'm going to share what you've done. If you let me show you this. Can you see this? So these are the different points of interactivity that I've been using, right? Look, there are different types of interactivity. Can you describe the different types of interactivity that you've seen? What's the first one? What's the first? What does try to do, the first one? The first interactivity. What's the point of that interactivity? What do you think? What I was trying to do?
I think you were trying to make us to think how we are using this tool, and to make us think that maybe we should use it. Like, are we using this? Why this tool is important, and maybe we should try to use it.
Yeah, but the point of the first one, it was more for me. It was an easy question. It's not a question to test anyone. So I'm preparing the student to know what is going to be later on, to start paying attention. So the first interaction, the first interactivity that you point, don't do something very difficult. Don't test them. Just let them think, or make them, you know, a little bit, you know, that was an easy question. It was not, you know, it was not nothing. It's just it's a sort of warm up of what you are going to do later on. So simply as that, okay? What about the second one? What about the second one? The second one was not a question. What was it?
To add the information you gave, the video tried to give us, and there was also the source. So if the student is interested to get more information, the student has have information to go through and learn more about this theory.
Yeah, it's an extension. It's an extension of input that is not only from the video, but is an extension of a note. And on top of that, there is a link that you can explore if you want, as Tamar was saying. And that's open. At least the minimum, you know that this is there, right? That you use it for that purpose, right? The next, the open-ended ones. In your case, have your tools ever driven comment on these? Okay, comment on these. The next two are not testing questions, but just to ask the opinion of the students, right? So there is no wrong or right answer. You could be using these in the classroom later on to discuss, right? Because they have already answer stuff in the application. So you get all the answers, and you could be using in the classroom to comment on these comments, right? So in a way, this is just to help with future discussion in the face-to-face classroom, or you know, in the online synchronous classroom. What about the next one? The next two, I think they are very nice as well. What was I trying to do with this one, with this note?
Just to test our way of thinking.
Yeah.
Sometimes we are eager, we are looking for somebody to prove whether we think correctly or not.
Yeah, it just,
and then we are happy if it coincides.
Yeah, and not only that, it just I was in a way developing or trying to develop expectations, you know, previewing what is going. Usually when we are watching a movie, we think, oh, this is the murderer, or this is the, we are, you know, ahead. So this is as well something that, you know, to do this, make it, if your guess, if your expectations were, you know, as the other person, and as well it helps to interact with this. So it's not a way of testing, it's a way of previewing what is going to happen. Sometimes you can do this, sometimes you can't. It depends on the video that you can prevent that. And you see, and the rest, one is provide an example, be part of it. What about the last but one, the multiple choice? What happened with the multiple choice? This is actually a question. This is actually, if you were paying attention about what the text was saying. And if you didn't pay attention, you make it wrong. So this is basically, this one, it was testing. That one is the only one I was using there to test, okay? And the last one for me, it was just to give you a pointer, and is that if you haven't ever used this audio or video feedback, I would advise you to do it. You know that you can, if you have a project on Google Drive, you can add an audio and give feedback on the same Google Drive. You record it, you put it on a drive, and then you connect it and you insert it there. And another thing is using video as well. So it's a different way of keeping all the time feedback, or giving feedback, providing feedback in a written form. It's all the time in a written form, and you have to go through it. So, and in online teaching, it's nice to see that you are there to give that feedback. If you're using Canva, if you're lucky to use Canvas, what does, it allows you to give up audio very easily. There's a button that it can give you. Moodle don't have that. Moodle, you have to record it and upload the feedback, but you can still do it, and I advise you to do it. And of course, for people that teaches languages, in my case, this is perfect, because you can, you know, give feedback on pronunciation and things like that. It's not your case, but in a way that gives you, humanizes a little bit your feedback. It's not all the time, you know, cold written form that what I did right and what I did wrong. So this is kind of nice, and you can see that I have you the list there, and I can see what you were doing. Poor Navarre didn't manage to finish, and it's 80% there, and I can see it. Don't worry, it was only one. Yeah, I know. Maria 80 as well, and I don't know what happened with the other two. Natalia had problems with connection, and that's why it's there. And you know, with Nana, if I go to Nana, if you don't mind, Nana, I can go there, and here you can give comments to each of the questions if I want, and give points, you know, to this question. Nana did wrong the last one, and so that's why it's 0. But I can say, okay, I'm going to give you them 40. Right? You know, I can change, and I can make a comment if I want to make a comment. Okay, so you can then, you see, I put 2 comments there. Vale, yes, I realize, Nana answered, this is a very interesting strategy to do. Yes, I realize how useful it can be, especially during online teaching. And that's true. You see, you can have a conversation with your students as well here in the project. And you see, you have here the summary of the student, and I can go through all the students, you know, and grade them all the time, right? So this is a nice tool now. is I'm going to give you time because you selected the video, isn't it? And what you're going to do is just do exactly the same. Well, not exactly the same. Make your video interactive, right? With this tool, right? How we're going to do that? You see, you'll have to get out of this egg puzzle because you enter as a student. And now what you have to go is to go in as a teacher. And in the Padlet, you have small tutorials if you have problems on how to use it or not. So you can watch the tutorials. Can you see in Padlet, you have a column that it says Egg Puzzle Tutorials. So you have small pills of explaining how to use it, right? Right? Okay, so I'll put you in 4 rooms, okay, to help each other, and I'll be back. See you later.
შემდეგ ესე იგი ხო გაქვთ არჩეული ვიდეო აი წინა კვირას რო გითხრა
კი ლინკი უნდა ჩავაგდოთ სადღაც ხო
და აი მე უკვე მიყვებით მად ინსტრუქცია ხა მეც მაგ ეტაპზე ვარ choose a file drag your file here and choose a file
იცი როგორ გავაკეთე აი მარცხენა ზედა კუთხეში რომ არის რაღაცა search-ი იქ ჩავსვი ლინკი მივეცი search-ი და პირდაპირ ვიდეო ჩამიგდო მაგრამ ეხლა რა უნდა ვქნა არ ვიცი უკვე
აბა ერთი წუთით მეც დაგეწევით მაშინ ის ვიდეო შევარჩიე წინა
Remember, if you have a question, please, you know, there's a button that where you can call me, okay?
Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
If you have any problems, remember that you can call me, okay?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
We discussed first steps.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we are working.
Yeah, if you have problems, technical problems, help each other, okay? And if not, call me. Good.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
see ya.
And also putting some tests open and close. But my concern is that I want to misplace the very last 2 questions.
So what you have to do is just try to move it, and try to move the point. The point, you can move the point, and if not, in the point there is a number there of the seconds that you can write the seconds as well. You have the possibility to move the point or to write the seconds in the point.
On the left side.
If you share it to me, share the screen to me, and I'll help you. Manana.
I'll try.
One thing while Manana was sharing, when you have to share, you share the preview on there, and you have to put what interactivity you've put, because if you do it in your own language, I won't be able to understand. So
it's in English. It's in English.
Okay, perfect. But if but anyhow, you do it like that. You put the interaction. I put 3 multiple choice, 1 note, and what the reason for, as we did the analysis, right, with the other video.
So how can I share the screen?
There's at the bottom. There's a button that says share. Share screen. Can you see about what the top, what the bottom? There's a.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Sure. You see it? Yeah. So right now, the very last 2 points, like as a note and the last multiple choice question, what is an euphemism? I want them to display at the very beginning.
Which point? The last one?
Yeah. No. First of all, the note, you are going to watch an episode from Gilmore Girls. Do you see this one as a note?
No, the first one, no, if you don't move it a little bit, I don't see it. The note you are going to watch, right? This is in 135, right? Is the third one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Go to the point on the video. Yeah, the point, the interactivity, the third one, no. You see the third one? Click the third one, the point on the bar at the bottom.
Sorry, just a minute.
Yeah, go there. No, not the third, not the second, no, the third, because it's the third one.
First one, yeah?
No, don't play it. Just click the little symbol of the interactivity in the bar. Manana.
I'm so sorry.
Manana, you have a line at the bottom with 1, 2, 3, 4 points. Can you see that? Here, yes, down. There's a point black, a black point in the line. This is one.
Yeah.
No, but the third one, this is not the one that you want to change.
Well, the very last point you are talking.
Okay, just click it.
Okay.
Now, you see, now.
Move it on the left, yeah, at the very beginning, yeah?
You can move it, or you can put the seconds up the top. You see, you can move it. Yeah. Well done.
Okay. All right.
You can stop sharing now. Here you have all the instructions to build a digital escape room or digital breakout. So here you have the objective, what it is, a small example, planning, how you have to do for planning, tutorial, and instructions. You go with this to your time. The objective is to build a digital breakout. I'll tell you what a digital breakout is, that is in there, the definition. And there are two ways of doing it. One is using Google Apps, but we are not going to use this one, okay? This is to you to have it, right? We are going to use Genially. And I'll give you, and here you have all the instructions to go through this. You have a mini example there. You see that I prepared for you that you can work on if you want, okay? Then you have how to plan it. And after that, it gives you the different tutorials on how to use it. Generally, in order, there are 3 videos. I advise you to watch the first and the second. The third one, if you are more digital competent, is for advanced. You have the videos and you have as well the support. You have all the information that, to do. The task you have to do is design a digital escape room. You don't have to do a very complex thing. It's a question of trying, okay? You need time. So you need to devote a little bit of time, okay, to do it. That's why you have the whole week. You have to experiment with the breakout templates in Genially, right? And then when you have it, as usual, you'll have another columns in today's Padlet to share your breakouts. Okay.